I loved my first grade teacher. She just made me feel right at home and like comfortable. Um, but when I was older, I didn't have that teacher that I always wished I had, that special
Mm.
teacher that you hear about.
Teachers Hate Apples challenges the traditional ideas about what makes a good teacher. We hate boring teachers who drone on and on. We love awesome teachers who spark curiosity, ignite imaginations, and make learning an adventure. Join us as we explore what makes a teacher truly awesome with interviews, tips, and stories that will inspire you and make you rethink everything you thought you knew about education. You'll never look at a teacher or an apple the same way again. Today on Teachers Hate Apples, I have Jessica. She is a grad student. She was my student teacher for a couple days, observing me, and she also jumped right in and started teaching. She is a natural. Thanks for joining me, Jessica.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely.
amazing that you're gonna share your story with us. So I guess the first question is, can you just kind of describe your experience as a kid and going through school?
So my experience it was interesting because I grew up with a twin sister. And so I kind of was very dependent upon that relationship growing up. But she wasn't. She was more independent. So I tended to be a bit of a loner growing up. And she kind of ventured out and was making her buddies. But I didn't, I was shy. I was very shy. It was hard for me to make friends growing up. So school was a bit difficult. In junior high, I was bullied pretty bad. So I didn't have the best school experience
Yeah.
growing up.
Did you have a certain teacher that kind of like stuck out in a good way or a bad way?
I loved my first grade teacher. She just made me feel right at home and like comfortable. Um, but when I was older, I didn't have that teacher that I always wished I had, that special
Mm,
teacher that you hear about. Like,
yeah.
but yeah, when I was younger, I may have, but
So what made you decide to go into teaching?
well, I always loved kids, and I knew I was good with them because I used to work at a daycare for about 3.5 years when I was younger. So somehow I kind of got away from that, and I ended up trying business, trying communications. I ended up in public health, and it actually took like a significant life event. I was diagnosed with like a serious issue at one point, and it kind of shook me to the core. And I was like, life is so short. I need to do what makes me happy. And why am I not working with children?
Wow.
So, like,
Yeah,
6 months later, I was in St. Rose and working towards my master's.
that's amazing.
Yeah, took it as a sign.
What challenges did you or have you been facing as going back to school like after a break? Like I imagine it's really hard to do. I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, it is like because an adult student now, so it's totally different. I have my own house. I have a child, so I am trying to. I mean, financially, it's difficult because I'm also trying to pay for college and not add on to the student debt that I already have.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's challenging, and then I'm also working a full-time job to support my little family, so it's been difficult. I'm making it work though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it helps that the master's program has been online so far. I
Oh,
will
that's
say
good.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have like a year left after
I
May?
do.
Okay.
Yep, I'll have one semester of courses left and then a semester of student teaching.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
I'll be ready.
well, I think you're natural, so
Well, thank you.
seen you in action. So
Yeah, I love kids.
it's awesome. So during your program, you observed several teachers, different schools, different environments, different social economic classes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, can you kind of go into some of the really good examples that you've seen of teachers building a strong relationship with their students, and then maybe some of the not so good examples?
I would say, I mean, overall, I've experienced really great teachers. They're and the great ones I see are they know their students really well. They know their home life, their personal situations going on, and they're also able to they make it fun and they make things lighthearted. They still get their lessons across, but they still make it fun for the students. Reassuring. I see a lot of that, because I would say the teachers I've experienced where I kind of walk out and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do a few of those things that I saw. They are it's the energy in the room is serious. It's like intense. You can feel it when you walk in. And I don't want to down the teachers, but because I know they're probably doing the best they can. But it's more like negativity. They're correcting the students a lot, and there's no positive reinforcement after.
Right.
It's just you're not doing this, you're not doing this, right. You need to work. It's just there's no positivity.
One of my big takeaways from college when I went was if you correct a student, do 2 or 3 praises after.
Yeah.
You want to have more of praising than correction.
Mm-hmm. There's also, I've heard of this sandwich technique. Yes. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Where it's positive and then mention the negative or whatever they need to work on, and then end it with a positive.
That's we definitely do that for parent teacher conferences too.
Yeah, that's very helpful, I'm sure.
Or CSE meetings, oh, your student's wonderful to have in class, always makes me, happy to see him, very friendly to me, all these great stuff about him. And it's not fluff either.
No.
All these things are true. I wouldn't lie to a parent. And then what they need to work on, and then again close it with, well, thank you so much for your support. And then, it's amazing to have. I know I said the same thing again, but in the moment I would come up with something different. That's really positive.
Well, even as a parent, it would be nice to have that. If somebody needs to tell me something that is a correction of my child's behavior, I would want to ease it in. I want to hear the good things that he might be doing first. Right. That is helpful.
What does a master's course in education look like?
Yep. So I feel like it's different depending on where you are in your path, because a lot of the people that I have classes with, they already have their bachelor's in education, and I think they're already teachers in classrooms from what I understand. But because I don't have a bachelor's in education, I have to get my master's in order to enter and teach in the classroom, from what I understand. And that'll then lead me to an initial certification. So that's my process. Okay. But I know it's kind of different for other students.
What are some of the classes that you've been taking?
I've been taking child psychology classes, which psychology was never my thing, but these classes have been so interesting to me. And I think, my professor does a really good job at just keeping it interesting. And it's really important information that you need to know as a teacher. So those have been great. I'm taking a methods course right now in math and science. So it kind of teaches you best practices, and we have a lot of guest speakers who give us examples of their science lessons and their math lessons. I'm taking a special ed course right now, which is why I'm here with you. And that's been great too. And this experience has been phenomenal. So I've learned a lot. And those are all the courses I can think of right now.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad this has been a productive week for you.
Absolutely.
So sadly, St. Rose is closing. It's all over the news. Everyone around here is very aware of it. What are your thoughts on it? And then is there a plan going forward for next year?
It was sad because, I'm a local from the area. I've always grown up here, and St. Rose was the teaching school you go to if you want to be a teacher. So, and I purposely chose St. Rose because of their awesome reputation. And so it was a shocker when we all heard that they were closing. Um, and it's been pretty difficult because what is it, end of March, and the semester is going to be ending soon. And just today, they announced a local teach out partner. Up until then, I had no idea where I was going.
Oh,
So,
really? Wow.
yeah, it's been a stressful semester because the students don't are trying to figure out where they're going next, and also the professors are trying to figure out what they're doing next.
Right.
So it's been difficult to also try to take courses on top of all of that and figuring it all out. But
Yeah.
I finally have a plan, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna ask you one more question, and it's a cliche question. So I apologize in advance, but where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I hope to be in a local school somewhere with a great group of kids where I'm comfortable and maybe tenured, and just so happy in my life choice. I mean, I'm a career changer. So I currently have a full-time job somewhere that is really hasn't been fulfilling. And so I know I'm making the right choice, and I can't wait to see myself in 5 years with
Yeah.
the group
Wow.
of kids I have and just,
Yeah.
yeah, the me
Well, maybe you
then.
can listen back to this in 5 years
That would be
and think
fun.
about where you were
That
and
would be cool. Yeah.
how awesome. I see a lot of potential. So I think
Yeah.
it'll be great. So, and I hope you keep me updated too with with how
Yeah.
your journey goes. So,
Yeah, that would be nice.
all right. Well, thanks so much
Thanks
for
for having
sitting
me.
down, and thanks for all your hard work this week. It's been amazing. So,
Thank you.
do you like apples?
And I do actually. It might go against your title of your show, but I do. It's my favorite snack.
There you go. You like that peanut butter with them?
Absolutely.
Or?
Yeah.
It is pretty
It's the
good.
best.
So.
Crunchy peanut butter and apples. It's the best
Oh, I
snack.
don't know if I can do the crunchy.
Really? It's
Yeah.
my favorite.
There's too much texture in
That's what I
crunchy
like.
peanut butter.
Yeah. I hear you.
A huge thank you goes out to Jessica for helping out in my classroom for the last couple of days. Jessica, I wish you the best of luck for your career. You are going to go places. And as always, if you hated this episode of Teachers Love Apples,
Nope.
haha, just kidding. And as always, if you liked this episode of Teachers Hate Apples, share it with all your teacher friends. If you hated this episode, share it with all your teacher friends. Until next time, later, Gators. A huge thank you goes out to Jessica. Thank you so much for helping out in my classroom for a couple days. And I wish you the best of luck in your career. You're going to go places. Thank you so much. This has been another episode of Teachers Hate Apples. If you loved this episode, share it with all your teacher friends. If you hated this episode, share it with all your teacher friends. Until next time, later, Gators.